So let's jump into now the other top two team in this conference, and another team that I'm sure people will be looking for a rebound because they kind of had a little bit of a disappointing season last year. The Washington Prexies, I mean, 5-3 last year. The playoff loss to Apollo Ridge, not the way they wanted to end the season last year. The home game finale against Frazier, I'm sure, gave them a little confidence, but it seemed like in every single loss that Wash I had last year, there was one common denominator, and that was turnovers. And what are you looking for now as far as Wash I entering the season, trying to fix the turnover bug? And if they do, is Wash I, the favorites to win this conference once again?
Yeah, that's that was you hit you hit the nail right on the head. That was what killed Wash High season last year was fumbles, turnovers that just shouldn't have happened. They had a chance to beat McGuffey late in the game, fumble on the handoff, and we look at the Apollo Ridge game, the disaster that was. Um, Turnover galore, and that was the big thing. That was the story for Wash High. Even in games they won, there were still turnovers. Just a very, very unprecedented for a Wash High team. So I'm sure that's definitely going to be the big thing. Mike Boss might be like, remember the Titans, you fumble, you run a mile. Miss a block, you run a mile. No, but you get what I mean. Like, I think that's going to be the big emphasis this year for the Prexies is going to be holding on to the football, because they can hold on to the football. This team has the potential to win 2A. I truly believe that. They're going to have. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but Wash High is Wash High. Little plug to the Steelers. The standard is the standard. Mike Tomlin. But, it's the same at Wash High. The standard is the standard, and that's winning WPIL championships.
Yeah, and, you look at up and down this roster. I mean, wholesale last year's roster is probably more talented, but I think this year's roster is probably a little bit more cohesive, at least, where you're looking at the running back core. Yeah, you don't have your Mike Allen, you don't have your Amari Miller, but you got Tayshawn Levy coming back at running back, and that's exciting because we've seen a lot of spark from him the last 2 years, and now he's entering his senior year, and you could argue maybe the best running back in this conference. Mario Griffin behind him, a guy that we've seen flashes of as well. Outside a receiver, some very exciting names. I mean, Brandon Patterson has been there for the last couple of years, entering his senior season. But the guy that we really weren't expecting at the beginning of last year and really showed out was Davon Fuse at quarterback. And I asked you pre-podcast, is this guy maybe the best player in this conference? And you were like, maybe. I mean, we talked about Kyle Brookman maybe being that. But Davon Fuse, he didn't have a full camp at quarterback. Like, he's a wide receiver transferring from Trinity to a new school, learning a new offense, and now a new position. And Mike Bosnick, arguably maybe the best quarterback in the century last year. And now he's entering a season where he's got a full camp at quarterback. What are you looking at now that Davon Fuse might be, the playmaker on this offense that maybe the Prexies have missed for the last couple of years?
Yeah, the thing about Davon is what I really noticed. His arm got so much better from week one against McGuffey to the last game of the season. Is how much better it got within one season. Not that it was bad against McGuffey. That's not what I say. And that's what I mean when I say that at all. It just got so much better, so much more strength, better spiral. And yeah, he's a two-way threat. He can run. He can outrun you. And he can throw past you. And Tayshawn Levy, he got him back. He was the best, in my opinion, of the Wash High running back trio that they had last year. Mario Griffin, he was impressive in his showing. Brendan Patterson, I feel like he's been there for 8 years now at Wash High. This should be, it's his time to step up. Tyler Roberts is another one. I think he'll have a good sophomore campaign. I've heard a lot of good things about him. And one guy you didn't mention, Carter Greene, leading the line. He was an all backyard player. one of the best players in the century last year, especially on the interior lineman side, and probably one of the best in 2As, all that goes. So, yeah, well, they got him anchoring the line for Levy and Fuse, and I think Bosniak. I think he knows what he's working with. Obviously, he's been there before. He's got a WPI championship ring on his finger. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to win. And this team's not going to be any different.
Yeah, I definitely think the personnel is all there. I mean, you can see that this is a team that, although they don't have like a top end talent, like a guy, who is a guy who went to Liberty a couple of years ago. Man, name escapes me.
Mitchell.
All right, Chase Mitchell. I remember. Okay, thank you. But like they don't have that top end college talent on this team. But I think if you look up and down the lineup, they're just very depth wise solid all the way around. Even replacing the guys that they lost last year, like a Vandal Page at linebacker or what have you. Like they have enough talent there where you can feel confident that they're going to win this conference and that they should show out in the playoffs as well. And looking up and down the schedule, man, I mean, we talked about how hard McGuffey's away games were. Like, look at the away games they got scheduled here. Like, a road trip to Jeff Morgan, that's basically right down the road, essentially, and that's not a very, that's not a road game where you shudder. At Waynesburg, right down the road. At Beth Center, pretty close as well. At Frazier should be very winnable near the end of the season as well. And the rest of the games at home, they host Clairton, and that's probably their toughest out-of-conference game. Yeah, I mean, this could be another undefeated team for the Prexies, honestly, if they beat McGuffey.
Yeah, I agree 100%. They should be definitely 2-0, and I really look forward to that game. September 10th when we travel to I-70 Stadium to see them take on the Clairton Bears. We got two of the most historic programs in the WPIL taking on each other. That should be a fun one. And then, this could easily be another undefeated Wash High football team.
And you feel pretty confident about them getting into the third round if they finish first here. That this really is a one-game season for both McGuffey and Wash High. Them playing each other. Although, you mentioned the Clairton game, that's definitely going to be on the radar as well.